In New York City's congestion pricing is back. That's right, it's going to take effect on January 5th, 2025. Probably by the time this video drops, it would have already gone live. I'm going to go over what it is exactly, why you should care, and I'm also going to give you some of my honest opinions. And if you stick around to the end, I'm going to give you some money saving tips as well. So let's get started and talk about congestion pricing. So what is congestion pricing? Well, it's a way for the city and the MTA to get more funding to help improve the subway system in New York City, which has been dilapidated for many, many years. They want to extend the lines, add new trains, update the buses. So it's going to be an overhaul of the entire system. So it takes effect on January 5th, 2025. It's going to be a new zone which really starts below 60th Street in Manhattan and goes the entire way to downtown Manhattan. So it hits every single neighborhood from Midtown to downtown, and it even includes Battery Park City in downtown Manhattan. Now, it does not include the highways from the FDR and the West Side Highway. So if you're going to be traveling right through Manhattan and on the FDR, you will not get billed for congestion pricing. It's only going to be if you get off the highway anywhere below 60th Street in Manhattan. So how does it work exactly? If you are driving along the West Side Highway or the FDR, or you're taking a tunnel into Manhattan from New Jersey or from another area, or taking one of the bridges from Brooklyn or Queens, and you enter into this area below 60th Street in Manhattan, which is going to be called the Central Business District, you will get automatically dinged and you will get billed for entering into this zone. Now, there are peak hour rates and there are off-peak hour rates depending on the type of vehicle that you have. Another thing is that if you have the Easy Pass dongle on your windshield on your vehicle and you enter into the zone, you are going to pay the listed price, which I'm about to tell you in a second. But if you don't, you actually end up paying 50% more. So unfortunately, guys, if you're from out of town, I'm sorry, but you're going to likely have to pay the higher rate. So let's go over rates right now. There are two types of rates. There are peak rates and off-peak rates. Peak rates are from 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. on weekdays and 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. on weekends. For passenger vehicles, which includes sedans, SUVs, and small vans, the peak hour rate is $9 and off-peak rate is $2.25. Huge difference. For motorcycles, it's $4.50 for peak and $1.05 for off-peak. And if you're a bus or a truck, your peak hour rate is $14.40 up to $21.60, and off-peak is $3.60 to $5.40. So how did we even get here? Well, the MTA needed funding to be able to modernize their train systems, subway lines, their buses. And if you know New York City and you've traveled in New York City, you know that the subway line is horrendous. I actually stopped taking the subway, 10 plus years ago. I refused to take it. And so they're trying to modernize it. So they did a study and they had to go through the state and federal level to get this approved. Initially, it got approved, and then the governor of New York halted it and came back a few months later, and it actually reduced the rates. They were going to be much higher, but they actually came up with more reduced rates now. And so some intended benefits that they claim that's going to happen is it's going to reduce traffic. They say as much as 17% lower in number of vehicles, up to 150,000 fewer vehicles will be in this central business district, supposedly, which will then equal lower carbon emissions, better air quality, and it's going to add funding, public funding, as much as $15 billion for the subway and transit upgrades for the city. So advocates are claiming that this is a huge win, but we shall see. Like I said, I've been here for so many years in New York City, and the subway has always been a disappointing experience when you go to some of the other more modern cities around the world. New York City, being a flagship city in the country, is actually quite a disappointing experience. All right, so let's get my take on it. Let's start with the economic impact. The truth is that congestion pricing is going to have a financial burden, especially on lower income residents and small businesses. Do you think about it, when a mom and pop truck driver that lives in one of the boroughs like Queens or Brooklyn or the Bronx or Staten Island, they come in with their truck, bring in supplies to the central business district. They get dinged $20, $15 per ride every single day. It's going to be a huge burden, especially on the lower income people that really watch every single dollar they spend, especially in this high inflation world that we live in today. On top of which, when those supplies hit the small businesses in the district, they're going to be pushed on to the consumers, to everyday New Yorkers like you and me. So we're going to be paying more for our restaurant trips, for groceries, for shopping. So it doesn't really benefit everyone, or many people in my opinion. The other thing is that the MTA is inefficient. That's the truth. The MTA has always been inefficient. I've been here for 25 years. The day I first used the subway, I was shocked at how behind we were compared to other major cities in the world. You go to Tokyo, you go to Hong Kong, you go to London, their systems are so much more ahead than ours. The New York subway, I'll be honest, has delays, it's unreliable, it's unsafe. So I am not optimistic that even with all this funding that it'll get solved. The MTA is notoriously bureaucratic, and there's so much waste of money when it comes to their system. So we'll see what happens, but I'm just not optimistic. And then let's talk about the environment. They boast that it's going to be reduce the amount of vehicles, thus it'll reduce the emissions and have better air quality. Well, why aren't we pushing for more electric vehicles? If that's really the case, right? You have electric vehicles, you have less emissions, and you have better air quality. There is no provision for electric vehicles. So you say it's congestion pricing, it's going to be better for the community, but you're not incentivizing, yet you're going to put it towards things that may not actually translate to better quality of life for people. So I'm just not sure it's really gonna come out the way that they hope it's gonna be. And next is my smart strategies to minimize your costs for congestion pricing. The first and most obvious one is get the Easy Pass. When you get the Easy Pass dongle that you can put onto your windshield, you'll immediately start saving and avoid those 50% surcharges. So these are no-brainers. Next up, consider combining your errands into one single trip to maximize the once per day charge. So if you have to go visit a store or have to go and visit some friends, try to do it all in one day so you minimize that cost. You will also get crossing credits if you happen to take some of the tunnels or bridges that charge you a surcharge. Like the Lincoln Tunnel, the Midtown Queens Tunnel, when you take that, you'll actually get a credit towards congestion pricing. And then think about park and ride options. You can park your car in one of the subway stations in the boroughs, and then maybe get on a train or get on a city bike and go into the central business district, saving you a lot of money out of your pocket as well. Are there any other smart strategies that I may have not considered? Put it in the comments. I'm sure all of our audience would love to hear about it. And be sure to check out this next amazing video that was created to help you on your journey as well. I'll see you shortly.